Hello, my name is Ayala. I'm the mother of two, a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old who's right down here with me. And on this channel, I share about Montessori, our home, responsive parenting, all sorts of things like that. So I'd love to have you join me. If you want to hit subscribe, you'll get more of these videos. But in this video, I am talking about living in and leaving New York City. So if you didn't catch it in my last video, in my day in the life, I shared that we are leaving New York City and we're moving. And I have so many emotions about this. I'm so excited and I'm also really sad about it. It's very bittersweet. So I'm gonna talk a bit about that in this video. So first of all, living in New York City with kids. Living in New York City. So I've lived in New York City my entire adult life. I love living here, and I always 100% pictured raising my children here. I nannied here for years, and it was just always what I've expected, that I'd raise my kids here. New York City is truly the only place that's ever felt like home to me. I lived here my whole adult life, plus some, and it's the only place that's ever truly felt like home. So I love it here. I love the culture. I love that there are so many different opportunities and different, there's so much diversity. I love all of that. We have gorgeous parks, so beautiful outdoor spaces. We have tons of resources. We have diversity of food, like the cuisine. I love that there's such a diversity in what we can get to eat. I love we don't need a car. I don't like driving. I have no interest in driving. Oh, suburbs are gonna kill me there. I love the subway. That said, I don't love having to carry a stroller down the subway stairs because they don't put in elevators. They're tough things, but I love being able to take a subway, and some have elevators, just a lot don't. So I do really love living here, and I love living here with children. I do, in so many ways, and it's so challenging in other ways. So the reality that I never really anticipated was how challenging I would find living in this small of a space without a yard. So we have 750 square feet, which I don't want to say is tiny, because it's small. It's not tiny. People live in less. But we found it very difficult for a while now. So even though I don't feel like we have a lot, we do have certain things. We love to cook. I love getting, certain developmental toys for my children. I love those things. So there are a lot of challenges with, being in a small space with 2 children. And that's something that hit me really hard as my son became a toddler and my daughter was born. So I started finding more toddler energy, especially as he became a bit of an older toddler, and our space just wasn't serving his needs anymore. We needed to do a lot more outside time, a lot more running around. We have a pickler triangle, which he loves climbing, but it was taking up our entire bedroom. His entire bedroom was taken up by the pickler triangle because I have her floor bed, his floor bed, and it's just, we had no moving room. And we had to get out, realizing that we had to really go outside all the time, and the challenges of getting out with 2. And there was a lot of things that became really difficult. And so at this point, we sort of talked about what we wanted to do. This wasn't working. We cannot afford to get a bigger place. One of the big downsides about New York City is that it is incredibly expensive. We are paying far more than we'd like for our 750 square foot apartment, and it's just a very expensive place to live. So we can't afford anywhere bigger, and we could definitely not afford a yard. No way. Would love a balcony even, but that's not happening. So we decided to talk about leaving, which I really, truly, as I mentioned, never thought was something I was going to do. But what sort of I came to terms with, and I'm still very, it's very bittersweet. What I came to terms with was the reality that it's not a failure, even if it works for someone else. And I always thought, oh, I can make it work living in New York City with kids. And other people do, and 100% people do. But it isn't a failure for me that it's not working. So this all comes down to this sort of acceptance of who we are as parents and what our parenting looks like, and maybe it's not exactly what we had pictured. So I totally pictured raising my kids here, and accepting that that's not what's working for us and isn't really practical for us was difficult, and it's definitely a challenge. And I think even if it's not about where you're living, or it's about something, there's going to come a time when you have to accept this is something I pictured and that's not working for us, and we need to take a new path. And so for me, I think for a while I was like kind of stubborn about it. Like, I don't want to feel like there is something I will not miss about living in New York City is the sirens, the honking, the blaring music, all of that. I think I stopped. So it was important to me to sort of, I guess I came to terms with the acceptance that it doesn't mean I'm failing. I'm not failing because this isn't working for us and we need more space and all of that. And even if it's working for someone else, you know, it is a challenging place to live with kids in many ways. And I'm in particular here talking about Manhattan. So no offense if you're living in any of the outer boroughs. I think it applies to parts of Brooklyn, for example, parts of the Bronx. Not all of it though. I mean, my husband's from like the part of Brooklyn that's like way out, and it's a totally different world. Like, that's suburban life. I'm talking about, you know, Manhattan in particular. And yeah, it applies to like Brooklyn Heights, stuff like that, but particularly Manhattan. But it's difficult. It's, you know, difficult making it work in a small space. It's difficult not having a yard. It's difficult how expensive it is. All of those things are, you know, challenging, and it's okay that it wasn't working for us. And I sort of, you know, realized that, okay, it works for other people, and it doesn't work for a lot of people though who are doing what we want to do, which is have a big family, have kids pretty close in age, have work from home. My husband works from home, homeschool our kids, which is our plan. All of those things, those all are factors that make it really challenging. So we have 4 of us in this small space, and we're going to, you know, we'll have more kids, and we're all there all day because my husband's working from home. So part of our space has to go to his office, and he's here all day, and I'm here with the kids all day because I'm not sending my son to school or anything, and we plan to homeschool. And it became so overwhelming, and thinking about homeschooling in this space was really overwhelming to me. So anyway, we sort of decided that it wasn't working for us, and I've accepted now that's okay. There's nothing wrong with us that it's not working, even if it works for someone else, that we needed to make a change, and that's okay. And so that's just, I guess, a little thing, like no matter whatever it is, like it's okay to accept that what's working for someone else might not work for you. That's okay, even if it's what you pictured. So we are moving to Connecticut, which I'm really excited about. My mom lives up there, and I love Connecticut. We can get we can get a significant amount of more space and a yard and all of that for less than we're paying here. We can get a lot more space and a yard and everything like that. And so I'm really excited about that. Living near my mom is going to be incredibly helpful. So we will be close enough that she can really help, which I feel so grateful for, because family support is truly everything in parenting, and it's something that I've definitely realized. That it's just, she comes in sometimes now, but it's really a bit far for her to come in on a regular basis. Or, I mean, she does, she comes in, you know, every week, but it's far for her she has to leave pretty early, and it's hard, and it's hard on her as well. So I'm feeling really excited about that aspect, really excited to be moving closer to family, really excited to have some space and all of those things. Less excited about needing a car and needing to drive. Really don't love that, but excited for this. So why Connecticut? Obviously being close to family was a huge part. Affordability. Also, as I mentioned, we plan to homeschool. So like the places to look for living closer to my parents would have been New York in like Westchester County, or Connecticut. New York has some of the worst homeschooling laws in the entire country. So Connecticut's laws are way more chill. So that will be, I mean, not comparable. It's completely different. So that'll be nice, is having, and even though we're, you know, a few years from that, my son's 2, and it's not until like 6 that you have to do any of the homeschooling compliance laws. It's just thinking long term. It doesn't make sense for us to stay in New York State given that. So moving to Connecticut, as I said, still close enough to the city, which was important to us too, is we wouldn't want to move to, you know, Massachusetts or something, because New York City is really, it's where my husband's from, and it really feels still like home and an important place to us. So that's why Connecticut. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to cover about our move. So that's a bit about why we're leaving New York City, about my experience of living in New York City with kids, because as I said, I do really think that New York City can be a wonderful place to live with kids, and it just wasn't working for us, and that's okay. but it is what it is. So we're really excited to move. I'm gonna be sharing about our move. It's a little crazy what we're doing because we are leaving on a trip beginning of June, and we are going to be moving end of May. So, and this trip is 3 months long. So it's a little crazy. It gives us some time to like move, I guess, and then be gone. I don't know. I'm trying to find the silver lining in that. There really isn't one. But that's what we're doing. And so I look forward to sharing about our move. I look forward to sharing about our new space. Thank you so much for joining and listening to me ramble on about New York City and leaving and my emotions and all of that. It's a lot. It's wild to me. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. It was nice chatting, and come back for more videos about Montessori, motherhood, all that. This is not my normal video. This is a lot more just sit down and chat rambly. But I figured I'd talk about it because I know I'll get questions about our move.